Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Libra. If Libra is your solar, lunar, ascendant/rising sign, then this is a message for you. Okay, let's get started. Okay, knock, knock, knock. And let's see. What do these tea leaves have for us tonight? All right. Hopefully you all are doing well. We got through some bad weather. A good portion of the United States anyways was having really bad weather last night. So hopefully everybody is safe and sound and warm. And yeah, I think it's part of getting older. I just am so obsessed with the I watch the weather a lot, so I probably mention it fairly often on here, like I'm somebody's grandma. Okay, let's see what we have here. All right. Okay. So just gonna go ahead and start with I am seeing there is really in this area, I think, a real clear story for me, that there's been some tension, definitely, conflict, definitely. I even see there's kind of a person sitting here and their hand is kind of out this way, and I'll go ahead and say I'm sorry. I'm still having a little bit of a cough here and there, and it's kind of almost like having to clear my throat a bit, but you'll have to forgive me. I'm still just trying to get over this stuff that we have had. Okay, so, and then we have this person right here kind of falling backwards, maybe falling forwards. It looks it looks to me like they've been pushed a little bit. Immediately what comes to mind is the phrase a falling out. Okay, so I think that, you know, recently somebody you are close with, the size of this person indicates to me that they're very important. The fact that they're sitting and they look, it almost looks like a maternal figure. It kind of almost reminds me of one of these like primordial goddess figures, like a ancient fertility goddess, one of the Venuses, maybe like the Venus of Waldorf, something like this. So I wonder if this is kind of like a motherly figure, maybe a sister, a good friend, somebody you live with maybe. I really think this is, you know, like somebody that you know very well, somebody that you see often, somebody that you are in kind of, you know, like constant interaction with. So, it seems that, and we'll go look over here, it looks like a person that's kind of been broken open, and then it looks almost like a spirit or something coming out of that body. So I believe that there's really been a fracture in this relationship. Just the general like energy I get from it is that there's kind of like an environment of a lot of raised voices, maybe arguing, just trying to speak over one another, you know, kind of tit for tat. sniping one another. It just seems like a difficult dynamic all around. And I don't know exactly, you know, what caused this, but if this is a family member or somebody that you've known for a long time, I feel like this is a dynamic that has kind of just been there for as long as you can remember. And it has gotten worse. And I just feel like there's just almost, I feel like you've been poisoned by this person. And so I have this feeling that they have a pretty chaotic life. They don't do things necessarily by the rules, which, look, you know, that's not, I'm not trying to pass judgment on, you know, on ethics or anything like that. We all have to bend the rules. We all have to break the rules sometimes. But I think this person really just does not necessarily think about the consequences for themselves, but also for the people around them. And so I feel that in some way you have been maybe roped into some kind of situation. Maybe they have asked you to, I don't know, do something that's kind of really outside of your comfort zone. You kind of maybe made a choice to help them in a way that made you really uncomfortable. I almost kind of wonder if they had asked you to like lie for them, or I don't know, something that really, it just made you feel like, you know, you had to kind of show up for them because this is one of your people and you want to be there. And if they need your help, you're going to show up. But kind of like, why would they even ask me to do something like this? Why would they think that that's okay? And so I think that there are really some unclear boundaries within this relationship, and that really kind of creates a lot of room for tension, but also just feeling like people are overstepping, but there's really not a line drawn, right? So you haven't really defined the boundaries, but you also feel like they should know better. So it's kind of rough on either side to really, you know, decide where this went wrong. But regardless, you're feeling like you cannot trust this person. You feel like there's a falling out that happened. And that it's kind of destroyed your relationship for right now. And I feel like this has really unleashed a lot of anger from this person, because I feel like they have kind of this idea in their head that they've done so much for you. Maybe they have cared for you, helped raise you. Maybe they have raised you. But like you kind of owe them something. Okay. And that's just not the case. Even if you kind of did owe them something, right? Just as, you know, being family or a friend, honoring a friendship, honoring a relationship with somebody who you love, that doesn't mean that you should or should have to go outside of your comfort zone, but also just like your own, you know, wellness, your own safety, these kinds of things. When somebody pushes you to overstep those zones of being, of existing, that can be really painful. It can be really difficult. And I think it, it can set kind of a tone of that chronic overstepping and putting you in situations that are not safe. And so I wonder also, maybe this is not the first time, which, if this is an ongoing relationship, a long-term relationship, it would make sense that maybe this is not the first time this has happened. Okay, so what do we do, right? I think that you really are pretty much over it. I feel like this, kind of cycle of something kind of building up, something happening, a blow up happening, kind of a separation or whatever, some kind of dysfunction, and then, slowly coming back together and making up. And this is kind of, this is kind of the cycle of an abusive relationship. And definitely not a healthy relationship. So I think that you really should stick to your instincts to really set some, real boundaries that this is it. Not doing this anymore. Not being involved in these kinds of situations. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to, take part in whatever is going on, whatever they're doing. And I think you just kind of, have to take care of yourself. And I want to talk about this energy that we're going to kind of be building on here. We have the Chariot. Okay, this is the Chariot card. And this is from the Thoth deck. And this card is all about kind of forward movement. A lot of energy put into breaking through any kind of blockage, any kind of, any kind of situation that is hindering you from getting to where you want to go. This is kind of like brute force a little bit. It's also very much about having the focus of finding your place in life, finding your position in life. And I think really in this scenario, this is a lot about moving. Now, I think that, like I said, this might be a person that you live with or a family member. And I'm just going to take a drink here. So I wonder if this is maybe kind of going to be the catalyst for you to move on, right? Maybe move out, get your own place. And I want to look at this. Excuse me, my goodness. I was thinking that I almost wonder, do you have a child? Or this could be very much like raising your own inner child. And I'm seeing a person kind of bending over, to pick up a baby. Okay, so especially if you have a child, whatever age, right? You have to think about them first and your relationship with them and how you are going to protect them. Now, I didn't really think about this, but this could also be that this is your child putting you in this situation. Maybe an adult child, teenage child. So, of course you want to do whatever you can for them. Okay. You can't just always leave your own child. And I get that. I think though that this is more, this formation is more about really turning away from this other dynamic and thinking about your own direct family, your child, or your relationship with yourself. the parts of yourself that have been hurt, the parts of yourself that have been, lied to, deceived, used, feeling like you are not necessarily important to whoever has been kind of putting you in these positions unless you can offer them something, right? And that can really kind of trigger these feelings of like inadequacy, abandonment, neglect. All these kinds of things definitely come up when somebody shows you over and over that they are willing to use you. Not even to kind of dress it up. They just go right ahead and get what they can from you. So, when we get to a point where we're done with that, it's time to detach. It's time to focus on just really loving ourselves, and it's really cheesy. I know, as I'm saying it, I know it sounds cheesy, but I promise you it is meaningful in practice. Cheesy when somebody's saying it to you, maybe cheesy if you read it in like a self-help book or whatever. But when we show ourselves that we will prioritize our well-being, when we show ourselves that we are worth being treated how we want to be treated, when we show up for ourselves, when we advocate for ourselves, when we are willing to make sacrifices and hard decisions to take care of ourselves, as you would expect a parent to do for their child, as you would do for your own child, right? You have to do that for yourself sometimes, because it really is about growing that bond and healing with that part of yourself that is that innocent, being that needs to be held and cared for and nurtured, right? So, it's like almost re-raising yourself in some ways. Okay. And, it's a process, but it is a process that is a worthy process. I think the other part of this, and I'm seeing this kind of little dragon, and it looks like it's kind of on a leash, and there's a person kind of, holding on and kind of running after it. Now, to me, I just think this is kind of that like reptilian part of your brain, the instinctual part of your brain, the part of your brain that tells you like you need to eat, you need to sleep, you need to run, you need to, to survive. I feel like a big thing for you to maybe be working on is really pausing and listening to your own concerns and reactions, how your body reacts, how you react emotionally, what is your first instinct when something is happening, okay? And not letting that other little part of your brain try to be dismissive, because we are conditioned from a young age to ignore how we feel because it's improper or it's rude, or and here is an example. Okay, so when you're little and your parents maybe were like, oh, go hug your grandpa, or go hug your uncle, somebody you didn't really know that well. And your instinct was, no, I don't want to touch them. I don't know them. And oh, she's shy. Oh, he's shy. Go and do it. I told you, and so you are conditioned to not listen to whatever that instinct is, that you don't want to be touched by somebody you don't know. You don't want to interact physically with somebody who you don't know is safe, right? But it's conditioned into us to ignore that. Okay, so that's just an example. But I think that it's really important when you're trying to work on yourself, when you're trying to heal yourself, when you're working with that inner child archetype, that you do really get back to the basics of listening to those instincts, really hearing yourself, your intuition, hearing your concerns, hearing the way that you react. And yeah, you can question, why do I feel this way? And really kind of excavate those things to the root. But in the moment, honor yourself. Okay? Even if it seems illogical, irrational, even if it's going to hurt somebody's feelings, it's okay to just say no. It's okay to walk away. It's okay to look like a total weirdo because you don't want to do something that people deem normal or shouldn't be a problem, whatever, okay? I think as a society, we're starting to accept that not everybody is just going to, you know, do the uncomfortable thing. Okay, I think that we're starting to realize that there are a lot of different kinds of people who exist in a lot of different kinds of ways, and we don't all have to act in a certain way, right? So, I think that it's okay to give yourself, you know, the okay to just not do the thing if you don't want to. And I think it's really, I mean, it really is showing yourself. And it sounds so silly, but it really is showing yourself that you can trust yourself, that you are going to advocate for yourself. And that I think that in those moments, your intuition really starts to grow because you can trust your intuition. So your intuition is being fed, and so then it's growing. So your relationship with, you know, listening to that intuition is also growing. It just feeds back. It feeds back into itself. And now I want to look at this one. I feel that there's really just a great amount of confidence coming out of this healing process, even though it's going to be difficult. And I think that you will stay strong with this person that we had been talking about, but it is going to maybe cause some ripples, okay? And maybe involve other people, especially because it might be family, okay? And just suddenly the dynamic has shifted. People don't like that. We don't like the unknown things going on, right? It kind of changes everybody's experience within a family or, you know, a group of people. But stick to how you feel. That is my biggest advice, okay? And I'm looking and I'm seeing that it seems like we have an 8, and that's going to be an important number, okay? I'm also seeing some figures that look like small serpents. Maybe you can see. So I think that you're going to gain some knowledge. There'll be something that is going to be revealed to you. And I think that it's really going to kind of support how you're feeling and really the path that you're going to be starting to go down. Okay. And unfortunately, it might not be the best news. And I'm not going to, gosh, I need to get a cough drop here. Unfortunately, I'm not going to lie to you and say that it's just going to be all good news, because I think that it's probably not going to be good news. I think it's probably going to be more of the same and maybe a little bit worse. But I do think that it's going to help solidify it's going to help solidify this and this choice that you've made. And so try to stay strong. And I would say really try to, you know, feel your emotions, but try to limit your reactions, your direct reactions with this person, because I feel that they probably are looking for any kind of reaction for you. especially if it's negative, because then I think it kind of is something that they can show to everybody else and be like, oh, see, I told you so-and-so was going to act this way. And this just, proves whatever their agenda is. And they're going to be politicians trying to get people on their side. Okay? I say just try not to engage in it. Do your thing. People around you, if they pick your side or not, if they engage with this or not, it doesn't really matter. I think that, just limiting any kind of emotionality that, limiting the emotionality is going to kind of dead the back and forth. And I think that's the first step. And so, I think also, let's look at this. I immediately see this beautiful triangle. I think definitely, if you have the ability to, if you can't move out immediately or at all, maybe just stay with somebody else or, rent like a Airbnb or hotel for a couple nights. Something just to get a little space and let things cool down so that you can fortify yourself and figure out what your next move is. And, this person, I'm just looking at these, little formations, and it looks like a person with kind of a wand, and it looks like they're kind of, I don't think that they're necessarily like actually casting spells or hex or anything like that, but I think that they are very much a person that can create an environment, an atmosphere, and a web of experience, let's say. They're good at making people believe them. And so I also see a person kind of holding up like a hammer, and then somebody sitting here. And I feel like they're really just going to be on the attack, because when somebody, and I'm not saying they're a narcissist, but I will use this example. When somebody is a narcissist and they know that the kind of facade, their masks have been kind of, pulled away, that somebody can see them for what they are and their tactics. Oh, they go nuclear, right? They're going to discredit you, gaslight you, make you feel like you're crazy, you don't know what you're talking about, you're lying, you're trying to get people to turn against them, and basically just get out in front of anything that you might say about them. I don't know, how do you exactly deal with that? For me, my plan is always just to get out of there. Don't engage with them. Don't, you know what I mean? Like, do not talk about them. Do not, don't back and forth with them. Just, kind of disappear a little bit and do your own thing. Act like nothing's, and I'm not saying this is what you should do, but this is my own kind of, when I encounter somebody who is truly on this level, I just don't even fight back. It's not a fair fight. These people that are willing to just kind of, use people around them as resources, or, get you to do things that you don't want to do. They know you don't want to do them, but they're going to ask you anyways. And it's not little stuff. I mean, this is stuff that could ruin your life maybe. So, number one, just make sure you're safe. Make sure that, you're standing your ground, but not kind of making the situation flare up either. And there's nothing dishonorable about not engaging with somebody who is not a reasonable person. Okay. When I was younger, I don't think that I could let myself. I would be, you know, I was way too prideful. And I was like, you know, nobody's going to be putting dirt on my name. Nobody's going to punk me down like that, you know. And we get me in trouble. So, but as an older person, as an old lady now, my advice really is to ignore them, get out of there, let them do their thing. They are going to be the master of their own demise or chaos or whatever. So don't go down with the ship, right? Okay. I mean, I wish I had a little bit more advice, but ultimately, I think that's about all I have this week. Hopefully next week, and we are now on a each sign will get one reading a week. So next week I will hopefully have a little more clarity. We'll have some better news, I hope. And yeah, I just want to thank you for listening to this. I want to thank you for allowing me to read for you. I'm always so honored to do just that and to deliver these messages. If you would be so kind as to like the video, it helps me get into the algorithm. If you have not subscribed yet, think about doing that. If you hit the little bell, it will let you know when your next video is coming out. And in the meantime, in the next week, you can watch your other placements. And I'm just trying to get through all. I'm always forgetting something. If you would leave a comment, if you would like to leave a comment, I should say, I love reading them. I love interacting with each and every one of you. You all are so sweet. And there's so much beautiful energy. And I just love getting to know you all. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We will talk again very soon, Libra.